We're going to have a go at producing our very own David Hockney portrait. He's produced one here of his mother using a lot of printed out photos. Obviously now we've got the luxury of being able to do this digitally, so we don't need to print them all out, but I just want you to pay attention to the fact that the face does stay the same. So the eyes are where the eyes should be, they're not kind of like down here where the chin is. The mouth is where the mouth should be, even though we do see kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos, all like parts of it which do have part of the mouth in. We've got like sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 bits where the eye is targeted, and obviously a lot to do with the kind of hair and around the kind of jawline. So we're going to break an image up into quite a few segments. We're looking at the start for about 20 layers, yeah? So if I go into Photoshop, get yourself a good image that of a face or of someone, and once you got that, might want to zoom in just ever so slightly. Now it's a real basic technique that we're going to use, and we're going to use this tool up here which is called the rectangular marquee tool, and you're going to be using a lot of layers in this one. So let's get going. So the first thing is you want to always select like squares or rectangles, yeah, which is what this one does. I don't want you to select like massive ones like this, because otherwise there's no point to it. You really are trying to fragment the face, similar to what David Hockney's got. Now every time you make a selection, you go into the middle, you've got the little arrow on the box, press right click, and do layer via copy. You can see now over on this side here, I've got a little section, and I've obviously got the background. So if I switch that eye off, you can see that we've got that section that we just selected. You're going to need to get used to sort of clicking these eyes on and off to be able to see what's going on, if there's any areas that you need to do. So always go back to your background layer, same technique. Try and sort of overlap if you can. So if you know your sort of first selection was around here, try and overlap it, and then again right click, layer via copy, back to your background. Alright, try different sort of shaped squares or different scaled squares and rectangles. Okay, and layer via copy. Again, background, layer via copy. If this happens though, and you get a little pop-up box that says could not make the layer from the new selection, it's because you're not on the correct layer. If you now take a look over here, I'm actually on layer 4, so the area which I've selected is empty, yes, the checkerboard. So you want to go back, keep the selection up, just go to your background layer and go layer via copy. Now I'm going to keep on doing this until I get all of the face and all of the bits that I want selected. So if I just click this background off, you can see I've still got quite a bit to do if I'm going to fragment this whole face. So I'm going to come back and we're going to sort of see what to do once we've got all the fragments together. So I've now got my 20 layers. If I just click the background off, you can see how it looks. Okay, so that's what it looks like at the moment. Obviously if you want to do the rest of them, you can do, just keep on going and just keep on sort of selecting areas. One thing which is a good little tip is that you do sort of like some smaller selections around the facial features and the hair, and perhaps hands and the shoulders, or you know, points of interest around the sort of on the person, and then you do larger sections outside. So obviously on the sort of flag, I've gone slightly bigger. Okay, so let's have a look now. What does that look like? Yeah, not bad. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off a couple of these down here. And again, I'm changing scale, I'm changing shape. Oh, there we go, made a mistake again. Okay, I'm not just doing the same size, yeah, I'm doing squares, I'm doing rectangles, I'm doing narrow rectangles, yeah, so we've got a good selection of imagery. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to switch that off to have a look. It doesn't matter about some of these gaps here. And what you're going to do now is you're going to start moving and rotating some of these layers. So to do that, you need to go to your move tool, which is the arrow and the cross, and then all you want to do is just select the layers that you want to move. So if we start with layer 1, you can see it's just there, and you just want to tweak it. You don't want to sort of like pull it all the way over there. You just want to move it ever so slightly. If you want to rotate it, you can do, but just for now, I just want you to move your layers into sort of an interesting position. You don't remember, you want to fragment it, you want to distort it ever so slightly, but you still want the eyes, nose and mouth to be in the same areas of the head. So 3, move that down there, a little bit. 6. Okay, don't be afraid if there's like gaps underneath, we can always fill those in later. Okay, so I might actually get another layer over around the centre. Okay, and you just keep on going until you're happy with the outcome. Okay, so remember, you don't need to go over the top with it, you can just sort of move things ever so slightly. And just work your way down. So I'm on layer 14 now, layer 14 is just at the top. 15 just there. 16. 18. Okay, so it's already looking like quite a powerful image there. Drop bits in. It's nice to have those lines of colour as well, just to show that it is being sort of cut up a bit. Got the shoulder, let's put that in there, so we've got kind of double shoulder. Quick way of selecting them is by right clicking on the layers. Don't want to go back and forth all the time. And layer 24. Just down here. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. There's a couple of bits here which I might want to sort of look at, so perhaps around the nose, around the chin. So to do that, I'm just going to go back in. I can see now the areas that I need to work on, so I'm just going to do a copy, a layer by a copy of that one, and I'm also going to do a layer by a copy of that. If you're unsure, just switch it off. You can see that I'm fine. So I'm just going to do a layer by a copy. And it won't let me because I'm not on the right layer. There we go. Okay, layer by copy. Now what you can do is just to move those last two to wherever you want. Okay, and there we go. Now switch your background off and have a look. Move things into place if you need them. And what you can do now is, if you wanted to, you can go to edit and actually start rotating some of them, so you can get a different outcome altogether again. I would suggest at this point is not to rotate everything, because then obviously you're losing the shape of the face. You just want to sort of rotate to perhaps exaggerate certain features. Yeah, so like the horns, you might want to rotate ever so slightly, but again, I'm not taking them over horizontal, I'm just tilting them ever so slightly. And you can keep on doing this and playing around with this. Another thing you can do, just to kind of bring another Photoshop skill in, is layer ordering. So if you knew that you wanted this part of the eye on top of this one, you would need to go and find this one. Now I know that this was the last one which I did, so I know it's either 25 or 26. So 25 is the lower one, so therefore 26 must be this one. There you go, you can see it moving. Now I know there's more to that layer, so all I'm going to do is click and drag it right up the layers palette and just drop it. Okay, you can see that one now is dropped on top, and I quite like that going on there. So obviously you can do that with loads of other layers. If you just have a look, I could drop layer 7 right down, and you can see now we've got little bits of the mouth coming through. Okay, so it's just a good idea to get used to sort of layer ordering, very important when using Photoshop. And that's about it really. The only thing I would do, last thing would do, instead of having this background up, which is obviously the original image, is to actually have something in on this empty layer. So I'm going to create a new layer just by clicking this icon at the bottom of the layers palette. I'm going to go and grab a colour. Hockney used to have, or usually had, sort of pastel-y colours in behind. So I'm going to just get kind of a nice pastel-y blue. I'm going to go OK. I'm going to make sure I'm on the correct layer. So that's layer 27. I'm going to grab my fill bucket and I'm going to drop it in. Now this obviously is like taking over some of the images, so I'm just going to drag layer 27 all the way down to just above the background layer. You can see there, because the black line is ready to be dropped in. Drop it and it's in behind. So we've got a David Hockney-esque face. If we just go back